So, if you want to know, keep watching this review of Fing. It's the latest book by David Walliams, released on 9th February 2019. Meet the Meeks. This is father, Mr. Morris Meek, and mother, Mrs. Meredith Meek. They were both librarians. They became friends, and they were so shy that they didn't talk for the first 10 years. A few years later, they got married. Some years later, they got a baby girl, Myrtle Meek. Myrtle Meek became an absolute monster. Whatever she was given, dummies, cuddly toys, the baby demanded more. Myrtle's behavior became worse. On her 10th birthday, she demanded something strange, a Fing. Her parents didn't know what was a Fing, so they searched through the entire library, but they couldn't find what was a Fing, so they went through the deep vaults of the library and found an old leathered book called the Monsterpedia. Then they finally found a Fing. There was a warning: never ever keep a Fing. They're the world's worst pets. Myrtle Meek was an absolute monster. Whatever she was given, cuddly toys, dummies, the baby demanded more and more. Her parents gave her crayons. Myrtle would scratch them on the walls before snapping them into two. Snap! More. Once they picked their daughter up from school, Myrtle had the biggest slab of cake. It was the size of a garden shed. Myrtle still wanted a Fing, even though Mrs. Meek read the warning to Myrtle. Never ever keep a Fing in your house. They're the world's worst pets. So Mr. Meek went to his destination, the deepest, darkest, jungliest jungle, home of the Fing. Most of all, he had got the Fing capturing equipment, an old hamster's cage, and Fing's favorite food, custard cream biscuits. And plus, he'd taken the Monsterpedia. He just had to return it in 2 weeks in the library, otherwise there would be a fee to pay. Mr. Meek saw the two-headed croco. The two-headed croco had 2 heads and no tail. 2 heads and no tail meant double trouble. Mr. Meek was swimming with the hippopotamus, while the croco and the wong-winged birds were chasing them. Mr. Meek shouted, "Can you return this book to the library? There is a fee to pay." Things became worse, much worse. Mr. Meek had woken up the deadliest animal in the world. No, the deadliest animal in the world was not Myrtle. The deadliest animal in the world was a elephant. The elephant lifted on Mr. Meek and Fing. Mr. Meek made the Fing as a balloon and went through Africa to Europe to the British Isles, and then to his country, to his town, then to his street, and finally to his house. He crashed on the floor and then crashed on his home. Mr. Meek said to Myrtle, "Take it." Fing stopped biting father's finger. Then the Fing started eating everything: the custard creams, the sweets, the chocolates, and the crisps. And when they reached home, they saw everything was empty, and Fing grew bigger and then started bouncing. They ate their bathroom, the kitchen, and started bouncing, so they locked Fing in the shed. There was an explosion in the shed. It was as if Mr. and Mrs. Meek were woken up by a nightmare. They pulled their daughter to safety. Myrtle tried to kick Fing, but Fing bit Myrtle's ankle and then they started rolling off. In a few seconds, there was no sign of Myrtle and Fing, the sound of silence. Months passed and there was absolutely no sign of Myrtle. They put a post up on the window of the library. Of course they wanted their daughter back home safely. A few years later, one evening while Mr. and Mrs. Meek were watching a nature program on the television over a cup of tea, the presenter showed the deepest, darkest, jungliest jungle. Mr. Meek said to Mrs. Meek, "That's where I found Fing." Soon the presenter showed Fing. Fing was almost the size of a planet. Soon the presenter showed a monster which no one thought it ever existed. It was almost in human form, but caked in mud, spending its days eating worms and running after Fing. Mr. and Mrs. Meek could recognize their daughter, but they decided not to bring her back because she was happy in the jungle rather than being with them. The next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Meek went to the library before it opens. They went to the dark and dingy vaults of the library and updated the Monsterpedia with the information of the lesser spotted monster, Myrtle. It was fun reading this book. However, the author warned every children to behave, or you might end up in the deepest, darkest, jungliest jungle.